Good evening, everyone. We have a few items to take up this. Oh, thank you. I'm going to call the Urban Affairs Committee to order at 5:30 p.m. Hopefully we'll have a brief meeting, and then public services will follow immediately after this. So the first thing we're going to take up tonight is order number 19-100-7808, application for LED sign special permit from Poignant Signs on behalf of McDonald's, 155 Boston Post Road West. The applicant would like to come up. Is there an applicant here for McDonald's? Well, that's an unfortunate thing. Okay, so we will move to...
Motion to table.
Motion to table is made and accepted. Okay, that was pretty easy. Before we start on Route 28, we also have on the agenda the order number 19-100-7809, 119 Ash Street, the Scarron property there. So I know Councilor Ossing picked up something that wasn't, that should have been in there that wasn't. Councilor Ossing, we do have the attorney here if you want to ask a quick question or if we just want to mention it to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in going through I wasn't able to attend the meeting, so I watched the tape and looked at the revised special permit that Attorney Fox sent out. And one of the conditions that was missing was, if you remember, one of the applicants wanted a fence similar to what his property line current fence is. And the attorney at the time in the public hearing said they agreed to it, so I spoke with Mr. Attorney Falk. He said it was an oversight that they would change condition number 7, so I'm assuming that Attorney Falk will send the revised one that we can send to the solicitor, put in proper format with the correct wording for a fence as part of agenda item 7 for that property on Ash Street.
Right, and that, I believe that has already been done, so I already received that today. So I don't think the committee has to re-vote on that, but just want to make everybody aware. Is that good? Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, so then we're going to take up order number 19-100-7716A, communication from City Solicitor Jason Grossfield on behalf of Councilor Delano regarding proposed zoning amendment relative to creating the Route 20 East zoning district, order 19-100-7716. Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I please like to recuse myself from this discussion.
You are excused. Thank you. If we could have the building commissioner come up. So we have a couple things that that we made changes to, so I thought we'd go over those briefly, and then we did have some questions about some of the table of use definitions to make sure we understood some of those recreational things, etc. So only a few things to do. First, why don't we go through, and I think you all have this in your box. This came in this afternoon, just some changes on the actual zoning language. And so I'll walk you through it. If you want to turn to page 2, and if you have any other questions, anything, please let me know. Okay, so under C, we are essentially saying that for uses that require a special permit, there is no earthly reason for the City Council to also be in charge of site plan review. The general idea here is on the larger projects, the City Council being a little bit, I don't know, we just don't, we feel more comfortable having at least the ability to touch this in some way. For those projects that are allowed by right and don't need a special permit, that is on those larger projects, that's when we have deigned to render unto ourselves the power to be the site plan review committee, right? So we don't need to be both, so we just clarified that language. So we're going to be one or the other, not both. Moving along to page 4, up top at 4C. We're just clarifying that language a little bit more. Essentially, in the first version, it essentially said that, I guess we were encouraging the reduction of curb cuts. This makes it a little bit stronger, not a lot, but a little bit stronger. So if we're looking at, see, the reduction in the number of existing curb cuts or the reduction of the width of existing curb cuts. This is part of how over time we want to better better regulate the flow of cars. We want people to circulate internally, not coming on and off of Route 20 all the time. Councilor
One
Landers.
quick question. I assume, like, when we reduce the curb cuts, I think the state, they probably won't get to this probably for about 18 months. So will somehow our Department of Public Works work in conjunction with the state engineers that these curb cuts could be reduced?
I don't think the state has control over, so if you want to get a curb cut, you have to go to the state.
Yeah.
If you close one up, I don't believe you have to go to the
Well, they
state.
have to be aware of that when they're doing their construction, though.
Well, honestly, Counselor, a lot of these things are going to happen in 5, 10, 15 years. I mean, that's the way zoning works. We're putting in these new regulations. Nobody's, so
Yeah,
nothing we do today is going to require anybody tomorrow to close a curb. That's only if they want to do one of these mixed-use types of developments. We're going to say, okay, you can do that, but we want to see you close down a lot of those curb cuts to foster that interior circulation. So I know what you're going after, but I don't think the state is going to be involved in any way, shape, or form in that.
So I just assume
President Clancy,
they
what do you-
wouldn't be getting down there for a couple of years anyways.
Yeah.
Presently, there are a few that do not, it's like Home Depot does not have a curb cut. Basically, it goes in off of, at the light there. And
There's
then
no curb cut coming out.
coming out.
There's one going in. Oh, wait, there is one
There
coming
is
out.
none.
I'm sorry, there is one going out. There's
One
none
going
in.
out, but nothing
Yeah,
coming in.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, but the state in its wisdom is changing the whole configuration of what Route 20 East is going to be. So it's something that's waiting to be seen, so.
And we shall see. Any other questions on that? Okay, moving along, moving, not a whole lot of changes. I'm down to page 7 here. And this is kind of my thing, so you guys tell me if you like it, don't like it. So under section D, where it says signs, logos, or cabinets may be either externally illuminated or internally illuminated with translucent or transparent faces. What I would vastly prefer, and I know I'm not alone on this, but we may be in the minority, wherever we've been able to do it, having externally illuminated signs looks so much better. In other words, you have some type of sign that looks like a wood product or woodish, where you have either gooseneck lights or floodlights on it. It looks so much better than it does with these internally lit signs like you have at the bigger shopping centers. They just look terrible. So I'm just proposing the idea here, and tell me if you love it, hate it. So I would say signs, logos, or cabinets should be externally illuminated where possible, or internally illuminated with translucent or transparent faces if no reasonable alternative is available. So we're shooting for external illumination. It looks just so much better. But if there's a technical reason or some other thing, then you're not being absolutely forced to do it. Love it, hate it.
Now, that wouldn't include spotlights, would it?
Yeah, it would include spotlights from the outside shining on a nice sign.
Sometimes that doesn't look bad.
Oh, usually it looks,
That looks pretty good.
they look nice, or sometimes they'll have the lights up on top of the sign, or gooseneck lights shining on them. They look really good. Remember that when we went out to see the marijuana factory?
Yep.
Mr. President, and across the street they had a little shopping plaza, and they had all these signs on the outside, and they all had these nice black gooseneck lights shining on them. It looked really nice. Looked
good.
really nice. So, can we live with that, folks? Yep. We're okay with that? Okay. All right, let's see. Then down to K is just, yeah, that's just technical stuff. On page 8, you see number 3 that's crossed out. That was kind of a cut and paste that they put in, not necessary at all. And if you'll go to number 9, amendments, this is something we do need to talk about, I think. We have talking about minor and major amendments to a special permit. Usually if it's a major amendment that needs to come back for approval of the city council, that makes sense to everybody. A minor amendment we usually have delegated to someone else. Now this language talks about site plan approval when the permitting is essentially done by site plan review. I think that's what they're saying here, but in the past, what we've done is rather than delegate that to a committee, we usually want to delegate it to the building commissioner, so we have a person in charge, and he'll decide if it's a minor or major. If it's minor, they can go ahead and do it. If it's major, do it within the regulations that they have to follow, and usually that will go through site plan review. If it's major, the building commissioner will say, no, the council's going to want to do this, and you'll have to come back to us. So I think we should probably change the language to really refer to a person and give them that authority rather than a group or a committee. Does that make any sense?
Well, Mr. Chairman, that's usually the reverse how it works, though.
Well, no. So what happens is we'll approve a special permit.
Yeah, okay.
And during that process, we agree, okay, here's what's going to happen. But they may not start building for a year, right? Because they're doing more planning, all the things that they have to do. And then all of a sudden they realize, oh, we can't really put this building here or those pipes there for whatever reason, or we got the sewer pipes too close to these pipes or water pipes or whatever it might be. And so sometimes they'll say, okay, they'll come to the building commissioner and say, okay, we need a change. And the building commissioner at that time would normally decide, yeah, that's minor, that's okay. Or if it's major, like we were adding another 12% of units, well, that's major, and that's got to come back to the city council. Am I thinking clearly, Mr. Commissioner?
Yes. Yeah, I think you probably are right on that, because some of this is technical stuff and decides minor.
And others, they just want to change it because they had a big new idea, and it's going to materially change what the city council approved, and then, we're going to want to stick our noses into that, so.
Strike my comment.
Right. Councilors, you aware?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with the internal stuff, but if you're going to change building locations where it could have an impact on abutters or things, I don't know if I want to leave that to just one person.
So that's when we count on the building commissioner's experience and discretion. So if they're moving a building 2 feet, is one thing. Like at Apex, if they moved a building 2 feet,
right?
Didn't really
I was
matter.
thinking of Apex.
But if you're down on Main Street and you're moving something that all of a sudden you're wrecking my building, or you're in front of my house, or you're doing something much more impactful, then you're going to sit. I would imagine the building commissioner would say, yeah, that's kind of a biggie. You're going to go back to the city council, right? Because it's not unusual to move a building a little bit on a site because of whatever reason, whatever they found underground. But
I agree with what you're saying there. I just worry that all of a sudden they're going to place a building 50 feet away from where they originally talked about.
Well, I don't know, Mr. Commissioner, would you think that's a big change?
I would quickly have to ask what size in that relationship to. 50 feet, I'm just going to use Solomon Pond Mall. When you got a vast place, 50 feet is nothing. 50 feet over here on E on Main Street is a big
Right.
big change.
So
Just using that as an example.
yeah. So Counselor, I think if we try and be too tight with this, people are going to be in front of the city council all the time. We're going to slow down construction, and we're going to waste our time up here. Those after us are going to waste their time up here. I don't think we want to do that. I think building commissioners are sensitive, because if they have a major change that they allow that gets neighbors upset, that's coming to the city council, and city council's not shy about going down to visit with the building commissioner, and the mayor would have to put up with that as well, saying, oh my God, what did you do? Yeah. So I think we'd be okay with, and by the way, this is what we've done in the past with other zones. We delegate this exact same authority to the building commissioner, but I understand your thinking. Are we all good with that? So I'll ask them to wordsmith that a little bit better. Beyond that, in the zoning itself, I don't think there's any other changes. We've already cleaned up the parcels. So now a quick review of the, if you'd like to do that, a quick review of the table of uses. So we just got a new update as of today, 11/25. And just to go through this, and we went through this and made some changes the other day. And for some of us, I know we wanted we had some questions for the building commissioner about exactly what the heck does this mean. So I think if we go down to the second page, under business uses, if we can go down almost to the end where we have recreational center, recreational services, etc., there was some question about what exactly, so what's a recreational center, what's recreational services, and then as we go down and find it in other parts, talk about the differences. So a recreational center, Mr. Commissioner, that's indoors, outdoors, what is exactly is that?
It can be indoor, outdoor, but recreation center, I'm going to say, is almost a standalone project. As is, we have here in the in item number 23, the ice skating rink. That's a standalone project. When I look at the one above, that's residential conference and training center with a recreation component on it, and you look at number 22 as the condition, they're talking about tennis courts, swimming pools and stuff. And the quickest thing I can quickly think of, doesn't fit quite into, is the international school out on end of Lock Drive. They have a residential component to that, and they also have their activities. They have a gymnasium. They used to have a swimming pool. They took that out. But that's has an in-house living there for residential units.
Okay, any questions about that?
They have enough athletic field also.
Yeah.
But it's like a half size, was a parking lot.
So if we go on to the next page, one of the questions that we had was trying to separate a sales room from a wholesale office or showroom, or a wholesale sale and warehousing. Now we understand what a warehouse is, but there's a lot of places that will say, the tile warehouse or tile showroom or cabinet this or whatever. So what's allowed, what's not allowed? How do they differentiate? Because we've had building commissioners in the past that just decide, okay, that's a retail use, which is allowed, or that's something different. How do we differentiate these, Commissioner?
The first one is sales room. I would say that's where retail sales take place. Quite
so retail
simple.
Sales. So,
retail sales.
So
We're
that
doing
would be
sales.
A store.
That would be a store.
Well, pretty sure we want stores in this zone.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So I'm thinking, right now we show that as a no, and it probably should be a yes.
I would say so.
Anybody disagree with that?
No.
Okay, and wholesale office or showroom?
I know of places that are wholesale that you can go look, there's no sales going on there. It's just a showroom.
So there was a cabinet place on Route 20. We went and bought cabinets there, but it was just this little building. It used to be a tiny little bank branch.
Well, if you're
And this
buying
kind
the
of
cabinets,
wacky guy sold cabinets, but he didn't have any cabinets there. That you can just look at that one little room and it's catalogs. What is that?
I would call that sales or retail sales.
Display room.
That's not much difference than Home Depot that has their section of cabinetry. You go look at your cabinets and you order them.
Okay, and so a wholesale office or showroom?
And then you got wholesale sales. We
Let's
don't
go back
have
to
a-
wholesale office or showroom. Again, I'm confused.
Okay.
So a wholesale office.
We're offering something for wholesale. Generally, you're looking at, wholesale, you're selling that to another distributor.
Yep.
Or a contractor?
Could be,
It's not retail.
it's not retail. You're limited to who is going in there. As an example, Harvey's Industries up north where I am, you have to be a licensed contractor to go in there. If you're a common citizen, you cannot go in there to purchase anything.
Okay. And we don't want those? I don't know if we do or don't. Honestly, I have no clue.
Don't see a problem with something like that, as long as the outside is, which I know like a Harvey's would be a good, decor on it, or frontage, facial frontage, but I mean, why wouldn't we?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Commissioner, any advice? I don't really know why we wouldn't want that. I mean, there could be a little strip mall again that's just one little office in a strip mall, or even an office building. You could have people come to that office, order things.
But we have to realize, I believe, that there's also a warehouse there that's storing the stuff, am I?
Right.
So you're gonna have a small area somebody would walk into, but they're gonna walk into a
I don't
warehouse.
really want a warehouse. That's not what we're trying to build here.
We're sticking on the middle one right now, the wholesale
Oh,
office.
office and showroom.
Wholesale sales and warehousing is a different line.
Okay.
I'm thinking, I want to say one of the buildings off of Donald Lynch is, I almost want to say digital or something, but you go in there and there's a company that has office furniture, and it's just a showroom. They have a storefront inside the building. You can go in there and sit in different seats. You know, they have 20 chairs, office chairs. They're really, you go in and make an order, and it's delivered to you. It's just a showroom.
What's the downside of that?
Big, ugly building?
Well,
I don't think so.
I mean, if there's 20 chairs,
Oh, well, they must have a warehouse for more chairs than back there,
so no, this one's not a warehouse, it's a wholesale office or showroom. The warehouse down below, I think we don't want, but the one above, wholesale office or showroom, I'm not sure I'm seeing why we don't want that.
I think what we're doing is we're getting mixed up here. I think what we're trying to encourage is retail sales. So in other words, if I'm selling linoleum or I'm selling carpeting and tile, people will come to the showroom, they would view it and then order from you, and sometimes it's kept on site, or might have to come from a warehouse at another location. But there can be within in a retail, a wholesale section. So in other words, when you come in, you get a different price because you are actually a contractor that would be buying from it. So I think a retail slash wholesale, both should be allowed. Because, as I said, there could be a wholesale office within a retail office.
So a wholesale office or showroom, are we good with it?
I'm good with it.
Good.
Commissioner, any downside to that?
I don't see anything quickly.
I think,
You're allowing retail sales less than 75 and a special permit by right, and over 75,000 square feet, you're looking at special permit.
So you're saying we don't need that because you could have the same thing essentially under retail sales?
Correct.
That's what I see.
Okay, so we'll say no to this because essentially it can be,
I would quickly classify what he's talking about as retail sales.
okay, so we're gonna leave that as no, and we're gonna leave the wholesale sale and warehousing will be a no, but the sales room itself, the top of those three, we're gonna say yes. You're gonna have a
Correct.
sales room. Is everybody comfortable with that? Councilor
I
Landers?
think the only time it would be concerning is what the product is. I think, now you mentioned the old bank that you went to, okay, that was retail for
Cabinets,
contractors and for consumers. I think across the street, on the east side of the junkyard there, isn't there a tile store there now?
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that's retail or wholesale, I'm not sure what that is.
well, the cabinets place, he sold both. He sold to people doing 150 house developments and to one consumer at a time.
So it's the product, and I guess that's the only concern we'd have.
Yeah, I don't think we really care that much about the product, if it's tile, carpet, shoes, I don't know. Right?
Okay, well,
Yeah, no, you,
we don't want a car showroom there, that's for sure.
correct.
So
That's my
But
concern.
auto is a whole thing in and of itself.
Should be.
That's a whole
We have that
different thing.
identified, further defined, so that wouldn't be included in that.
They couldn't sneak in, huh?
Okay, so we're saying yes, no, no. And then moving down, we had the car parking lots, garages, and I explained this to the commissioner separately, that we had at least 5 counselors who said they didn't want the auto uses or parking lots, so we're just gonna take that out. There was at least 5 no's and probably would have been more. Next page, let's see. So these are, I don't think we need explanations. We decided to add drive-through facilities by special permit, and the same with the restaurants, special permit. We added back in the marijuana by special permit. If we can turn to the next page. So now we're under agricultural, public, and institutional use on the next page. And there we have public recreation and conservation. It says no, but how do you stop somebody from doing public recreation and conservation? I mean, essentially, that would be the city, wouldn't it? State doing, I mean, it's public,
It's public, I would say that's the municipal or the state.
in which case we can't say no anyway, right? Or
No.
is that wrong?
No, there are a lot of conservation organizations that are not state, you know.
Like Sudbury Valley, something like that?
What's that?
The Sudbury Valley,
Sudbury Valley Associates, Sudbury Valley,
because we really don't want a lot
Conservation
of
district.
conservation land in our retail district,
no.
obviously, okay. All right, we'll leave that. We did have questions about the parks, recreational facilities, buildings, and playgrounds. Again, those are public, private, and religious schools. We really can't stop any of that because of the Dover Amendment, so. Moving down towards the bottom, Commissioner, we took out associated accessory research uses because research uses weren't allowed. So how can you have the accessory? And the same thing on the next page, accessory uses and service buildings, where you couldn't have those either. So I think that was about it in the table of uses. Do we have anything else? Any other questions on the table of uses? Any other questions about the zoning, the what we're now calling the Wayside District zoning? I don't really see any. So I'm going to recommend we don't vote this evening on it because I want to wait and hear what the planning board belatedly will add. And then it's my plan to take in whatever they say at that meeting, and we'll discuss it the following week. So they're going to be meeting December 2nd is the public hearing. MAPC, everybody will be there. They'll be putting forth this amended version. At least they'll be letting them know where we are on that. And then hopefully we'll get some good feedback. I'll take it in and then report that out at the meeting on the December 16th, which is technically our last meeting of the year, but President Clancy is going to call a special meeting on December
Either 23rd or the 30th.
either 23rd or 30th, so that we can vote on this Wayside District. Of course, if the council wants to, they could vote on the 16th, but I won't be proposing that. That'll be up to you folks.
See, what I take a look at it 16th. You could actually act on it on the 16th. And my feeling is that because it's an ordinance change, so you have to go through the 4 stages. So you could still act on it that same evening. If there is an objection to passing in one evening, then I would then call it another meeting on the 23rd or the 30th.
Okay, well, I will leave that up to the council. If you folks want to do that, we'll do that. If you don't, we won't. We'll go from there. Any other questions, comments, or concerns on Councilor Ussing?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So having just received this, will the planning board get the latest copy of this too, so they have an idea, or are you going to explain?
We have been diligent about forwarding them everything that we've been doing here, every iteration. We've been sending them the links to the Urban Affairs meetings, doing everything we possibly could to keep them up to in the loop on every step that we've made, every iteration. We've tried to keep them in the loop.
Again, I just want to make sure we haven't done anything that requires us to re-advertise.
No.
Most of the stuff has been minor. I just want to make sure we're clean.
I had a meeting with Jay and Jason last week to talk about that very subject. Everything we've done is to be expected types of changes. The one that they were worried about was the car parks and lots. because we didn't advertise that, and then we were adding that in, and they thought that might be something that would be objectionable, but we're not going to add that in, and that's how we started, so we're good. So everything else we've done is well within our bounds and duties, so we're in good shape.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. So move to a motion to table would be in order.
Motion to table.
Motion is made and seconded to table. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. It carries 4-0. Motion is made to adjourn. All those made and seconded. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. We are adjourned exactly at 6 p.m. Welcome back, Council.